I love the smell of sawdust in the morning. I think about that every once in a while. Good morning. God, it's nice out here. It's probably about 60 degrees, 60, 65, somewhere in there. Cooled down quite a bit last night, so that's nice. Man, I'll tell you, it was brutal. Cabin was, got up to 82, 83 occasionally. And about that time, it was somewhere in the mid 80s outside. And so we just opened up all the windows and stuck our exhaust fan in one of the windows, which, by the way, if you get on Amazon and you buy these fans and they say they'll fit a 24-inch window, don't believe it. They say it's like it'll fit like a 22-inch or something like that, or 22.5-inch opening, and maybe that's true. I don't know. It only measures 21.5 or 21.75 inches, but guess what? My 24-inch window measures about the same, and the thickness of the sill on the window is actually thinner than the thickness of the fan that's supposed to sit in there. So even if the fan would actually fit inside the window, well, it'd be too thick anyway and it wouldn't fit. So I was really kind of disappointed with that. It's something that we bought in an attempt to help cool the cabin down, and it does help. What we did at night was we actually closed all the windows except the window above the bed. And then on the main floor of the cabin, the opposite side of the cabin, that window, we opened that window up and put the fan in there, and it drew the cool air from outside across us and out that bottom window. The interesting thing is that the cabin only gets to like 74 degrees downstairs by morning. It's really cool with the cool air breezing over you, but it's almost like it gets like a stream of cool air that goes right through the cabin, and it doesn't cool it down that much. So we have to open up all the windows in the lower part of the cabin in the morning and close the upper windows so that it'll run air through the lower section of the cabin and cool it down. And we did yesterday. We got it down to 68, 69 degrees in the morning. But it was so hot here yesterday. It was 95 or 6 or something like that, that it was just brutal. By the time, dinner time rolls around and it's over 80 degrees inside the cabin, you're kind of done at that point. So, well, it is what it is, right? Just trying to finish my coffee this morning and get cracking. I've got to put the tractor away. I'm so glad we got the tractor fixed. So thank you very much for those of you that chimed in and gave me some suggestions on how to fix the tractor. I'll be honest with you. I trained as a mechanic, and about 36 years ago, I had a little MG midget, and it used to do the same thing. And I remember getting one of those little battery terminal cleaners. I've got a couple of them at home in the shop, and just cleaning the terminals and putting the posts back on, and boom, everything works fine. Sometimes you need just a little outside input to help you figure something out. So kudos to you guys for that. I do still have a couple things to do with the tractor. I've got these little plugs I need to put in so the wasps don't decide to make nests in it. Otherwise, yeah, it's running fine. So I'll put some more fuel in it because we've got some extra fuel here. It's set up and ready to go. And then I'll be back because we're leaving this morning. So I'll be back in a week or two where I hope to start getting the milling done. I did not mill more than the one log last night, which I was really disappointed in. I knew there was a good chance that I wouldn't get much out of that log. I saw some punk at the end of it. It was pretty gnarly. And I also knew that it would likely twist and bend when it dries, just because it's a pretty gnarly log. And I've talked about that in sawmilling videos before. What I need to do now is I got to put everything away. I got to get the sawmill put away. I've got to lube it up. And that's one of the things about owning a sawmill. If you're into off-grid and you want to get a sawmill, you just got to realize there's a lot of maintenance, just like a tractor, right? They say with a tractor you should grease it every 8 hours, and I do try to grease the tractor a lot. I don't always get it every 8 hours, but it's important. Tell you the truth, I probably grease the sawmill way more than I ever grease the tractor. But I think part of that too, and it's something I was thinking of yesterday, is that I was milling as a way of earning a living, right? As a job. It was a part-time. I never did it full-time because I had full-time jobs, but it was great. I loved it, but I always had a choice to mill or not to mill. But one of the things about running your sawmill as a business, which helps pay for your sawmill, is that you don't mill for yourself. And so you end up in a situation like I'm in right now, where now I really need to get milling for myself, and I finally can. But of course, it's hot summer now. And so this year's been a bit of a comedy of errors. In the beginning, I had an alternator go out on the sawmill. And by the way, for those that had watched those videos and commented that they thought the battery was bad, battery's fine. It's still running just fine. So here we are almost a year later, and the battery's doing just fine. Now I do put a battery maintainer on it, but not having any issues at all whatsoever with it. But also had, of course, this last time, trouble with the tractor. And frankly, it's too hot. You can't fall trees this time of year, right? Mid-July to early September, Labor Day anyway, you ain't falling trees. So I do need to fall a couple more trees minimum just for the foundation. And then frankly, I might get 4 or 5 feet of wall out of the D-logs I have now. But the reality is 4 or 5 feet ain't 7 or 8 feet. And even if I only did a 6-foot outer wall, I still am a little bit shy. So I have lots of trees that need to come down from a thinning project perspective, so I have no problem there. I just got to get out here and get them done. My back really troubled me throughout the last year or two. It's actually doing pretty well right now. And for those that aren't on my Facebook, I've actually walked about 260 miles this year. Started out, I could only do half a mile because my back was just so bad. Believe it or not, walking actually can help your back. I know it's kind of crazy because it hurts, but you know, now I can walk 4 or 5 miles most of the time, and as a result, my back's doing so much better, and I really expect that this fall, I'm gonna get fallen trees out here, I think. So, and who knows, maybe Michael Wilson will show up out here. He might even teach me how to fall a tree properly. I always give Michael a hard time, folks. Part of the reason is because he and I, let me think about this. I guess not long after he started milling, maybe a year after he started milling and had his YouTube channel, I would comment on his videos and started following him, and we would talk a lot and communicate. And when I found out that he's actually from where I'm from, at least where I was born and lived off and on a few times, I thought, you know, I should connect with Michael. So we have, and he's a really great guy. I like him a lot. So anyway, that's why I'm always kind of give him a hard time about coming out here. You know, it's one of those things where it's more fun to give him a hard time. If he actually shows up out here, that could be fun too. And I expect to get down there one day. Who knows? Maybe I'll just surprise him. But, and if you'd like to see that, drop a comment down below, let me know. But what I need to do now is I need to put my coffee away, and I need to get my game camera SIM cards in or memory cards in, get those set up. I got to get the sawmill taken care of and the tractor taken care of, and then I've got some stuff to do in my back room. So that's something I need to do. And there's something else I want to talk about, and this is not a paid programming right here, folks. I want to talk about something here. Hold on a second. So, as many of you know, if you've watched any YouTube at all, you know that guys do commercials and that kind of stuff for different companies. And I've talked about this mask before. And that, you know, you might notice occasionally on my videos, you'll see paid programming. Well, believe it or not, on YouTube, if somebody gives you something for free for you to review it, then that is paid programming. And when a YouTuber doesn't do that, believe it or not, it's actually a FCC, I think it is, violation. But in any case, you actually are supposed to say you're being paid for that programming. And technically, even if it's a $24.50 mask, you're being paid for that. So when I do those, and it's a requirement from the company. So if the company says, hey, I'll give you this, but you got to do a video, that's paid programming. Well, this is not paid programming. So don't run away. The reason why I'm going to talk about this is because I've had this tractor since 2012, so that's 12 years. Before that, I spent 3 years working out here, you know, building the cabin and riding ATVs and walking around in this moon dust, and it's moon dust, folks. And every night at the end of the day, I would have to go blow my nose, and I know it's gross, right? But it would be black. It would be disgusting. It's terrible. And I could always just think, the hell is in my sinuses and in my lungs, right? That's the only drawback from our property. We love it out here. But from mid-July until almost October, frankly, And sometimes even in the spring, if we have a dry spring, oh, it is dusty and terrible. And so you're always trying to keep the dust out. And I've worn, you know, N95s, I've worn my N100, I've worn, you know, handkerchiefs, you know, neckerchiefs, you name it. I've tried them all. And the only one that actually kept the dust out prior to this was my N100, which is the plastic or rubber faced twin valve type system. That actually does work, but it's hot, it's sweaty, it's uncomfortable. I don't like it. And I'm not just telling you that because of this. I'm just being honest. I don't like wearing a damn thing. You've seen me run my sawmill. I'm sure if you've watched my channel, I almost never wear a mask running my sawmill. I don't like wearing masks. And I've lost my voice from black locust, and I've had horrible time with black walnut too. Sometimes you're milling dry stuff and the wind is blowing right at you. It is miserable. And there's a lot of guys that are wearing those $500, you know, PAPR type systems, which is a pressurized air type system, and filters on the back and face masks and everything else. And I'm thinking, God, that's got to be uncomfortable, especially if it's hot. I don't like wearing those, and the mosquitoes have found me now. But the reason I wanted to talk about this, and again, it's not a commercial, I'm just telling you, this thing actually works. I'm so impressed. I ran it yesterday, and I've used it already before when I talked about it in a previous video. And I ran the tractor around yesterday. It was dusty as all heck out here, but I put this on. I did not have to blow black dirt out of my nose last night or this morning. Very, very little, because if you walk around here, you're going to do that anyway. But frankly, this thing worked. And then when I was running my sawmill, the wind started blowing directly at me and I was just getting buried in sawdust. I put it on, no problem. So I don't like wearing masks. I really don't. This one is actually the most comfortable mask I've ever worn. It's a mesh type thing, so it's actually a little cooler. It's comfortable. I mean, you know, it's a mask, right? No mask is truly comfortable. You put the straps on and it pulls against your face. And if you wear glasses like I do now, because I'm old, then, you know, they can fog up. Dim fog up. Definitely more comfortable than most masks. I'm getting eaten alive by mosquitoes now. So if you want to get a mask that's worthwhile, check it out. I'll just drop a link below. You don't have to, no big deal. They're not paying me to do this, folks. I mean, I have an affiliate program, I think. I don't even know. I don't care. I mean, come on. If I got 10% on a $25 mask, it's $2.50. I don't care. I'm telling you right now, if you haven't checked these out, it's worth it. Worth it. Check them out. I'm getting eaten alive here, so I need to get some stuff taken care of, so I'm going to get that done. It's been a great weekend. And we're not quite done. I got some work to do in the back room. You know, another thing I should tell you is I've been checking out that Bateria Bluetooth module. I like it. It's cool. So I'll be showing you that here soon too. Although my battery's now 15%, so it's dying on me, but I've got to get cracking. So I'm gonna stop yakking. I'm gonna get cracking. Let's go. 1.6 amps, going to the batteries. Oh, 42 watts. It's a little early still. All right. This guy, folks, works pretty slick. Let's see if my phone has enough battery power to show you this. Now I can do this inside the cabin. I just happen to be back here in the back room. So, I don't know if you can see that too well. Not using the load. And then you can go general. And then at the bottom here, click on PV, and look at that, boom, that's what we got. You can click on battery, tells you your charge current, battery voltage. There is no load, so doing this one-handed. Pretty slick app, folks. I like it. Now, the one comment I'll make is, if you go to general and then you go to battery, so the earnings, today's earnings, total earnings, you know what, I don't care about that. And then It says lithium ion battery type. Honestly, it should say lithium ferrous phosphate, LiFePO 4. If that's lithium ion, that could have something to do with the parameters here. So I did change one parameter, which is full charge voltage. I changed it to 29.1. They had it at 28.8. That may be lithium ion because that's what it says this is. They told me that this does, and the book says it'll do lithium ferrous phosphate, which is not the same as lithium ion, which is what you see here, and I don't see LiFePO 4. So I'd like to see an update there. Interesting factoid here is that if I click on this, it does say lithium Li for battery, but I did change this originally to LiFePO 4. I don't see that in here now, so I'm not sure why that would be, but something to think about now. I gotta get this out of here one of these days, but I need to deal with the composting toilet. We've had this composter in here since 2010. So 14 years, and it works good. It's a bit messy in here. This room needs to get cleaned up, and we'll do that. But a couple other things I thought I'd show you. That is a 24 volt to 12 volt DC to DC converter. We're upside down, so sorry about that, but 24 volts in and 13.8 volts out. So that guy is how I run all my 12 volt stuff off of my 24 volt battery bank. Just an FYI. And again, I gotta clean all this up. So we've got work to do in here. Definitely had some mice come in here, and hopefully we've killed them all. Anyway, I gotta get cracking here.
Hey folks, I wanted to take just a minute and thank you for putting up with some bad audio. The last few videos I put out, I've had some terrible audio. It looks like one of my GoPro media mods is just not happy when I'm not running my DJI mic. So I need to check some settings on that and see if I can fix that. But I assure you in future videos, I will make sure that the sound is not crappy like that, because it drives me nuts, especially when I'm trying to fix it in DaVinci Resolve. So anyway, thanks for putting up with that. I really appreciate it. And I didn't get any more footage from the day, honestly, with the battery shutting down and how hot it was getting and everything else. We got everything done, pulled up stakes, and headed out. And frankly, it's always bittersweet when we leave. We don't really want to leave. We love it out here. So that's all I've got from this trip, folks. I will be back at the cabin by the time you watch this, working on more. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you watching. I'm going to drop another video right here for y'all to check out. Y'all have a great weekend. The old Jarhead out.